We're going to have a group of industry folks now. The STEPS network is really kind of a communication network. We don't tell people what to do. We just form focus groups and help. And the folks that are coming up here now are some of the best, greatest people in the industry. And I'll just let them introduce themselves to you about what they do and why they think it's important that we all work together. Who's first? Come on up. And stare right into that little blue light there.
I'm an advocate. Thanks for the instruction.
I did that.
Good for you. Hi, my name is Kenny Jordan. I'm the Executive Director of the Association of Energy Service Companies based out of Houston. We have about 850 member companies, upstream service companies throughout the U.S. Well servicing is our primary focus. Our association was formed in 1956 on one of the main premises of safety. We had too many fatalities. We had too many people getting hurt in this industry. So we had, one of the reasons we were formed in 1956 was to address that issue. But you know, one of the questions that Rick had asked and we wanted to address is why it's important for safety. And for me, it's really a personal reason. I hope it is for a lot of y'all too. I have 3 children. 2 of them were in this industry. I have a daughter that's a petroleum engineer. She works out in West Texas, and she calls me and she says, "Dad, this is going on location. Is this good or bad?" I said, "Kelly, if you got to ask me, you already know as well." So it's important for us because a lot of us have family. You have nieces, you have nephews, you have grandchildren some days that are going to work in this industry. And it's imperative on us as an industry to make sure that they have a work environment to work, a safe environment to work in. One of the things that we do, and as Rick says, we all know we're in the right place, most all of us together. It's some of us are on a lot of committees and do a lot of work, but it's really a work of passion that we have to work together to make a safer work environment. You know, we might not necessarily agree with the way OSHA does things a lot of times, but one thing we can all agree on, and we should agree on, is let's keep the workplace safe for those that we're passing this on to. I hope to retire in another 30 years, Lord willing, and the creek don't run. But we need to make sure that we do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric.
Thank you, Kenny. My name is Eric Melito. I'm with the American Petroleum Institute. I thank everybody for having me down to Houston for this great event. It's nice coming to an event like this because you have guys like Rick just showering you with all these compliments. And I'd like to see my wife here so she can hear all these great things being said about us. But one thing I'd like to point out, though, is from my standpoint, I work on a lot of policy issues up in Washington, but we as API have been around since 1919, and we've been writing standards since 1924. I think as an industry, what I've learned is we have a very good story to tell. There are incidents that we're not very proud of, that we have a commitment to making sure we're putting an end to. But we see that the industry itself, the employees of this industry, work together on a voluntary basis to elevate and make sure we are doing things in a safe and environmentally responsible manner. And at API, we try to demonstrate that through our standards programs. We have about 200 documents, specifications, recommended practices, guidance documents, and standards that apply to onshore activities. And it's through those dialogues, through that discussion, that we're able to work together to try to elevate the industry's performance and then share that with folks at OSHA and in the states and in the federal government in general. We see it in offshore, we see it in onshore as well. A couple other programs I want to talk about besides our standards program is one is the API WorkSafe program. It is a training and examination program where individuals get a certification for E&P, onshore safety operations, 14 modules, really get into everything that's being talked about. In addition to that, we have an e-learning class on PPE. And then one thing that recently occurred that I wanted to mention as well is a lot of talk about traffic and driving incidents is that the Consumer Energy Alliance worked to bring together the producers, the American Petroleum Institute, with the truckers, with the American Trucking Association, National Tank Truck Carriers, and you can easily Google it, but they put a tank truck safety task force together, and a trucking safety task force together, which put out recommendations that are not only for the carriers and the drivers, but for producers, as well as for the public. But I just lay all this out there because it's not just being done at API, it's being done at IADC. It has excellent programs at AESC. AESC is being done by the National Steps Network, being done by all the folks in the industry on a voluntary, proactive basis. And that's why I think when I get out there and talk to whether it's folks on Capitol Hill or out in the States or an executive agency, I talk about the commitment this industry has and to the people in this room. So in closing, I just want to thank you for everything you do to elevate safety and make things right for the world. Thanks a lot.
I'm Joe Herb with IADC. I've had 37 years in the industry, and I've never seen our industry become more aligned than we are today. I can remember back in about 2002, John Miles came to our office and he wanted to work on some kind of alliance and push the effort to no longer just be the regulator hitting us over the head, but to come and get us all to work together in alliance. And then later I got there and laid it on my folks. You're invited to a meeting, and Mary Ann McGee started the Steps Network. And at that time, there were these comments like from our members that said, who would bring the IRS and help you do your business? Why would you go to the ocean and help us make our work safer? Why should we invite them? And fortunately, Mary Ann was very persistent, along with Rick Ingram and the group got going. And so we brought our whole industry together to make the workplace safer for our employees. And one of the things that to me is really important, I noticed when we were talking about all the different communities, there was the same people raising their hands. And I challenge all of you, especially out there in the field, get involved, participate, share your best practices, get out there when Rick or somebody wants to volunteer or Ryan for a project, don't sit on your hands, get your hands in the air. Become a participant to actively help our workers be safe. IADC started around 1940. And the goal of IADC way back then was safety and improving technology in our industry. We know that, I'm too close? I'm sorry, okay. I was told to be close to the mic. Okay, thank you. Now you really throw me off. I don't know what to say. But anyway, you know, as an industry, we all got to participate, we all got to share. And work on things. You know, we have a lot of committees at IADC. We have products that we sell. Most of those products were created through participation from companies, individuals. You know, the employers out there, you know, support your workers to participate in the efforts of API, AESC, IADC. You know, the biggest thing, I think, if I don't get this message across, especially to those of you workers that are going to see this video, is this is all for you. You know, all the regulations, all the policies, all the efforts of everybody that's in this effort doesn't do a bit of good. If you go out there, you know, we know we've got the regulations, we know we've got policies, but if you go out there and you don't follow them, then everything we're doing today and across the country isn't going to have any value. Thank you.
I've been asked to read a statement. The Independent Petroleum Association of America was unable to be here today. I had been in communication with Matt and Ryan. So they asked me to read for them a statement. So I was going to do that for them. The Independent Petroleum Association of America represents over 6,000 independent oil and natural gas producers in the U.S. IPA member companies operate both onshore and offshore, drilling roughly 90% of the wells in the U.S. IPAA and our member companies consider worker safety to be the first priority in any operation. The expectation is always that each worker will return home safely at the end of the workday. An inclusive and collaborative approach between industry and those who regulate worker safety is a critical component of our industry's ongoing track record of success aimed at building a safer work environment. This public-private partnership between industry leaders and OSHA must have a foundation built on open, honest dialogue and responsive partnership working towards the common goal of worker safety. Incumbent upon the industry is a responsibility to work together to develop workplace practices that implement and foster a culture of worker safety. Programs such as the National Service Transmission Exploration and Production Safety Network STEPS not only provide an invaluable format for industry collaboration, but also demonstrate the commitment of the industry towards achieving the goals of creating a safer work environment.
Good morning, I'm Elizabeth Haley with PEC. What started over 20 years ago is the Petroleum Education Council for offshore safety and health standards. Well, we, as a group, again, all working together, we did what we started to do. We still have a long way to go, but we decided we would then take on land. And what you will hear me constantly say is the word standardized, because it is so very important that we work together. We represent standardized reporting, everyone's favorite paperwork, contractor management for operators. I often refer to it as herding cats because we manage and help the operators with 20,000+ contractors. We represent standardized safety and health orientations, such as the well-known Safe Land, Safe Gulf programs and the related trackable databases. And Safe Land is not about one particular group, one particular provider. This is now a national effort. California has just picked it up and has run with it. And I'd also like to say that Safe Land, Safe Gulf represent several of us that I'm very proud to work with. Joe, IADC, is part of that. ETC out of Oklahoma, Energy Training Council, is a part of that. And together we represent that standard goal for common safety and health practices. And I'm proud to say that every day that we look up new numbers to verify how many have completed, and as of today we are at 507,000 since 2010 for the Safe Land orientation. So we're very proud, and that is due to all those who have worked together. The reason why it is so important for us to work, and it's such a personal pride to work with all of you, is that it is our core belief that through standardization, that represents us truly working together. We simplify common safety practices, we save money for our customers, and we make the work environment a safer and healthier place for all workers. And I thank you to you because it is an honor every single solitary day to travel and work with every single one of you. And I'm proud of the STEPS Network, and I'm proud of NIOSH, OSHA, having come from OSHA Training Institute. Thank you. It is a personal honor and a privilege to work with you.